Welcome back to another episode of Footy with the Boys. We have a whole lot to talk about. Not necessarily much of the matches, as there weren't that many, but a whole lot of things happening outside the pitch. Nick, how are we feeling today?
I had a great weekend. The Arsenal did not play, so little rest and relaxation. Got to see the internet freak out because Arteta was like eating at Salt Bay's restaurant, which okay, so that was funny to watch, and yeah, the games were pretty solid, so I'm good.
What's the kit for today?
First day back in training camp, earthquakes, repping the boys.
Uh, Farewell, Kate Cowell.
Yeah,
Mike,
adios.
based off of your kit, I'm gonna imagine that you're a little bit less off than Nick. How are we feeling?
Yeah, I had a good weekend too. Some good fixtures. Watch a little Cup of Nations, little AFC. So some different style of soccer. But yep, bad news this morning. Being an Everton fan, we'll get into that more. But overall, doing pretty good.
Yeah. Well, glad that you got your mention of the AFCON tournament. And
Yeah, son of a
for all
bitch.
the viewers and listeners, Mike has been begging to have us talk about that tournament for some apparent reason. He thinks that we have a
Dude,
deep knowledge of what's going on and can provide analysis that would help anyone. Um, but
I want to have a deep knowledge. Don't have it yet, but we're gonna try.
I'm good. I'm just gonna be honest with you, Mike. It is not coming from Nick or I. So
Yeah, I got nothing.
unless Palmer is just very into
Bro, I'm
African,
a fucking secret fan, dude. Don't even get me started.
yeah,
Savant.
Papua New Guinea, Equatorial Guinea versus Nigeria, I believe.
I
It's
I
Hell
I
no.
can't even
Shut
I
up.
can't say a single word. I'm just gonna embarrass myself. It's gonna be it's
yeah.
gonna be bad.
Let's keep what we thought would be best and not talk about the AFCON tournament, so we don't embarrass ourselves anymore. But with with talking about some big players at AFCON, there's a big player that went missing from Europe, but to Saudi Arabia instead, Benzema, who may be looking to make his return. Uh, Much like a lot of people in Saudi Arabia, there's transfer rumors starting to pop up about them leaving. I saw some report that a lot of the players were surprised by the conditions of how their wives were being treated, how it was a desert, how essentially anything that a common person would think of when you're saying I'm moving to Saudi Arabia. But was Benzema on the market potentially? Is it? Is anybody going to be that far in for him? I mean, they'd have to pay a bag. Mike, you think?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a loan move, I could see some Premier League clubs um, for the short loan. The wages are going to be an issue because he'll want, um, I mean, a lot, and what he's getting paid in Saudi, they'll have to get a good percentage with Al Attiyad. So yeah, it would have to be a big club, a Chelsea, an Arsenal, a Man U, um, but there definitely would be some interest, I think.
Nick,
Sorry.
Arsenal, are you signing off?
Well, no, I'm not. Mike, what club does he play for again?
Al Ittihad.
Yeah, it's gotta be how you say
It
it.
is, dude. I swear, that's what it is.
um, God damn it, I miss Ahmed. Okay. No, no, I'm good. I mean, maybe, but I feel they say like he hasn't trained in a month. I don't know. I don't think he was that great last year at Madrid. Like, still a goal scorer, but I don't know if he'll be able to keep up with the physicality of the Prem. But I mean, none of our nines are doing anything now, so fuck it. Yes, why not? Let's take it. Why not? It's weird though, because like I think Jordan Henderson too, right? There's rumors of him leaving, a bunch of other
That's not
guys.
a big rumor at all. Who cares if Jordan Henderson wants to leave his team?
Gareth
That's
Southgate.
that's
Sure.
disrespectful, bro.
No, but Nick, the salary that he's getting and the draw, they're trying to build their entertainment industry for once the oil industry goes away. Karim Benzema puts people in the seats. Jordan Henderson, unless there's some type of weird fixation with him over there, I'm fans are not going there to see Jordan Henderson play. But
If you were a fan,
Benzema-
if you were a fan of whatever team Jordan Henderson was on, like in Saudi or whatever, they were pretty excited about that signing. This feels disrespectful. Like,
no, I mean, but that's a Nick. You're saying right there. Yeah, you're excited about the signing, but you're not like going to the game for Jordan. You're like, oh shit, that's a good signing. Yeah, but it's
what are you
not
going
like
to the game for then?
not
He
Jordan
plays
Henderson.
for Al Ettifaq, and they are notorious for not having fans, even compared to
Sorry.
other Saudi clubs.
Wait,
So
sorry. He plays for him.
Al Ettifaq. This is going to be a pronunciation segment, so let's move on before I get butchered.
Yeah, Mike, we're trying to avoid some of those words.
Yeah,
It's a bigger demographic if we avoid it.
Sorry.
You can't say the fuck word on this pod.
Yeah, we don't really want to fucking say that. But anyways, I think that the biggest hurdle here though for Benzema is he's getting paid what, like 100 million? Is that his salary?
He's being paid 100 million.
Per year?
Let's check it.
Isn't it something crazy like that?
There's no way he's getting paid $100 million a
So that's
year.
the entire Saudi like reason people are going there. But if it's a loan, you have to determine what percentage is getting paid. And there's no way that Saudi Arabia is going to say, "Hey, yeah, we're fine with paying the 100 million or however much percent of that 100 million salary that is insane
That's
for him
not
to
the.
not play there." Like they will just I feel like if Benzema's leaving, it's not a loan. He's just gone.
It's
That is
4
not
million
the.
a week. So yeah, that's insane.
Dude, is that like 200 million?
That's like 200 million.
Yeah, he's on a $630 million deal over 3 years. So
2 million
That's
a
not
week for
feasible.
52 weeks times 3.
So once again, there's no team. There's not a loan deal happening. It's they either have to cut ties completely and he just signs as a free agent, or like there's nobody paying close to 200 million on their wage bill, and there's no way that the Saudi team is going to say, you know what, we'll foot the bill for him to go out and not play in Saudi Arabia.
The Premier League is like, oh, Everton's definitely going to pay him that. We can't allow this.
We cannot allow it. Yeah, maybe that's the concern. Maybe that's why they're cracking down. But you know what? That's the Saudi. I don't think is gonna stay around for too much longer with the momentum they've had. At least it's gonna.
CR7's been doing good, right? He's enjoying life out there.
yeah,
Yeah,
apparently.
well,
So
I think CR7 and every other player not the same. I think every other player is looking for a little bit other aspects of life than CR7. CR7's a little too locked in to care about where he's living or anything else.
Mike, name that team.
Al Nassr.
Good job, Mike. You
Yes,
know your
sir.
Saudi Arabian teams there.
I know a few of them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like everybody heard the 2, 3 that came out with 50,000 signings all of a sudden in the random summer. But speaking of 50,000 signings, maybe they'll be hitting the World 11 that came out and features 6 Manchester City players. We'll get into one of those men a little later that has just came back, and boy did he prove his World 11 status. But what are we thinking of the 11 here? Is it? I mean, I don't have that many complaints unless you guys are gonna point something out.
Leo Messi legacy call, maybe?
He won the Ballon d'Or. He won the World Cup.
World Cup's not included in this. The time frame is end of December 22 through August of 23, I believe. So a little bit of legacy for Messi for sure, but based on how it's decided with national captains voting, coaches, media, and fans, I mean, it's deserved if that's how they're going to decide it. I think the one that I scratch my head a little bit at is Bellingham, because the time frame doesn't include most of this current season, where I think he's really, stood out as a star boy. He was phenomenal at Dortmund, definitely. But aside from Dortmund having a little bit of a title push, which ended the last couple of weeks of Bundesliga, they didn't achieve a whole lot. I think Rodri's a big omission here. I think Ilkay Gundogan is a big omission as well. So that's the only one that I have a little bit of a gripe with, but I mean, including Bellingham it's understandable.
Yeah, I don't think they care that much about the rules. Just with anything in football, it's just they're gonna do whatever they want and choose whoever they want, and it's not necessarily gonna be black and white. And
For sure.
yeah, that's really all I would say. Nick, anything on it? You make any changes here?
No, I'm not making any changes. Just 6 Man City players. Oh god, that puts things in perspective, huh? Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they have a team over there. It's interesting that they have almost all those players available all the time, and it isn't until one comes back that they're really hitting on all gears.
You know
But
what's even worse? They have 6 of those players, and Mike just named 2 more that should have been on there. Like,
That's true.
they
And
have,
Ederson was in the, the short list for the goalkeeper as well, so could have been 7.
I mean,
fuck me.
that's probably the reason for why we see our next little topic here not including them. It is Everton and Nottingham Forest being charged with another FIFA financial fair play. Uh, what the hell? What? Everton already got punished, and they're punishing them again. Nottingham Forest, it makes somewhat sense. I mean, they run like 26 players last summer.
Yeah.
They were just on a prayer that they were going to make some insane amount of revenue. That's a little bit understandable. Everton getting charged twice is absurd. When you have Manchester City, who started the season on 115 charges, have not been charged with jack shit, and that's probably the reason they have all these top players, and Premier League doesn't want to touch their revenue source. Mike, I know you have some feelings on this, so sound off on what you're thinking here.
Yeah, I did a little bit of a deep dive into this to try to get a better understanding. A lot of the details are still murky about exactly what the spending was, what the breach was, what the exact amount was, and why Man City has yet to have their charges brought or the case brought against them. And kind of what I saw is the new rules that came in about a year ago made it that the Premier League has to act on these violations within a year so that any punishment happens in the current season. And all the charges that are related to Man City are from 2018 and before. So they don't apply. Even if they're older charges, these new charges are or more relevant or need a date of closure sooner because of the new rules. They need to have those punishments enacted within the current season. So it's a fault in the rules. It really makes no sense. It seems fishy, and it's punishing clubs that are struggling and not really benefiting in any sort of competitiveness. Uh, Everton has spent less money on transfers than everyone in the league aside from Brighton. So how are we getting a competitive boost out of this? The league ruled against us for losses that were related to new stadium building, and the league states that you can add on any charges that are related to building infrastructure, but somehow building a new stadium is not infrastructure. That makes no fucking sense to me. Nottingham, they seem to take their charges on the chin. Yeah, they signed so many players, and they're not even allowed the same amount of losses that a team like Everton is. Everton's been in the Premier League these last 3 seasons, and they're allowed $105 million in losses. Nottingham's been in for 1 season that's included, so they're 60 million. And I'm sure they're well over that 60 million in losses for these 3 seasons just based off transfers alone. It's frustrating for sure. I get that you have to enforce the rules, but the way that the rules are set up now, it's really just hurting the smaller teams. It's not going after the major culprits, in my opinion.
No, Nick, it seems very Man City like that they break all the rules get a super team like we were just talking about, where they can have essentially the entire World 11 if they are really going for it. And then after they get all those players, they decide, you know what? Hey guys, we should change the rules, and all these old charges we shouldn't focus on. It should be the new charges, the brand new ones that we should just really go crazy at. Is this a little maybe financial move to look in a certain direction, not look in the past?
Sure, yeah, I don't know. I think like they just saw what all this oil money did and like, oh shit, like we can't let this wave of football like repeat itself with the Man City and Chelsea that kind of blew up just from getting a bunch of cash. So, I mean, they're still dropping it. Like, how much money did they spend this past summer? Like, they spent so much fucking money. Everyone talks about Arsenal's 200 million, but like they spent over that for Kovacic, Nunes, and Vardy, all right. So,
Yeah.
and what Gundogan left for free? Was that their big departure? That's it, right? Like,
Cole Palmer.
Yeah, and they signed Doku.
yeah, and Doku for like 70 million also. Like, Jesus fuck. So, I mean, listen, six players in the world, 11. Chargers might not do anything. They're definitely gonna like strip an FA Cup, right? Like that's all that's gonna happen. They're gonna be like, no point deduction. We're taking your title, and the title's gonna be the Carabao Cup from 2016. So, who knows? I don't know, but Everton Stadium must be like a flying stadium at this point. If we're
SoFi
charging them,
Stadium, but in the
it's the
Merseyside.
coolest fucking place
It
in the
looks
world.
awesome.
It's charging us all. Like, I don't every seat better have a VR headset to be on the field and watch the game if we keep getting charged like this. So sucks for the Toffees. I feel for you boys. And yeah, I mean, Nottingham, you saw this shit coming a mile away. So
Yeah. For the Premier League, it just feels so much like Everton took that punishment. We said, you know what? Fuck you. We're gonna get those points back. Huge winning streak. We get out. It's you know what? We did it. We took that punishment, and we're proving that we're better than that punishment. We're proving that we're better than the relegation zone. And the Prem's like, that was kind of supposed to sink you. So
hot
fuck.
take, is this the kick in the ass that Sean Dyche's team needs to get back
We've already
5
got
game
our
winning
kick in the ass, man.
Or-
We can't afford another. If we take 20 points in deduction, it's a wrap on the season. You can't come back from that, barring the three promoted teams just really shit the bed. So it would be ridiculous. Another thing I didn't bring up, which is another flaw in the rule system, which I'm sure we'll see changed after this season. The 3 consecutive years that they're counting for losses um, ended at last year's the end of the season, and then the new charges include the most recent year. So 2 out of the 3 years are included in both cycles. So it's not 3-year block, 3-year block. It's every 3 years. So over this 4-year period, we're getting charged twice, and it's going to affect us in the same season because of the rules just being enacted now, rather than getting a point deduction last year or in the future. They're going to try to enact it now. And the ruling on whether we're going to get a point deduction or some sort of financial charge or another sort of punishment, it's up in the air. It's decided by these boards that the Premier League delegates these decisions to. So there's no precedent. It's never been done before. The 10-point deduction is the most ever seen in English football history. And if it's 20, I mean,
If
pack it
it's
up.
20 for the same crime twice, that is
Right. I mean, it's
crazy.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
But they're gonna want to punish Nottingham because they have not been punished at all yet. And can they throw out 2 different punishments? Like, we kind of fucked over Everton if we do 2 of the same. So
Right.
we're gonna get Nottingham really hard here, and then Everton something else. I feel like they're gonna like try and level it out. And so if Nottingham Forest is getting fucked over, Everton's getting royally fucked over. So
This is why
yeah,
America's the best.
yeah, we need
No,
good
no
old
double
Roger
jeopardy in the law. In the law.
moral of the story.
There you go. USA,
Most
baby.
story in America. Yeah. So certainly we'll keep an eye on that. Keep you guys updated on what the punishment will be. Uh, and that punishment may be that Man City gets an additional 10 points, just
Probably.
because. And maybe Man City just gets awarded the title just cause. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. We'll get into our games here. Not that many games, just 5 this week. But there were some interesting ones here. Starting with Manchester United Tottenham. This was a bit of a memes game. The people who scored and assisted on these were just the people that truly needed it at all times of the season, and they finally happened, and it all happened in one game. Hoyland, man got his miracle, and he's gotten his miracle twice here. Rashford finally starting to maybe find some form. They really need him to. But then Richarlison on the other side getting a goal as well is just a peak trio there. And then Timo Werner getting the assist for Bentancur, so he gets his little name in there. But I know Werner was back in his fine form, hitting a shot into row Z. So this game really had it all. Mike, from the Manchester United perspective, we were saying that Tottenham, although extremely stripped for parts, probably would still win this game just off of form. Manchester United comes out with a draw. Is that something that you're happy with here, or allowing 2 different goals to equalize? Get under your skin a bit.
Yeah, for Man U, the goals feel good because there's been such a lack of them, and especially from these two guys. So that's something to hang your hat on. But letting Tottenham get back in the game twice, almost immediately, just like firing back, it's really poor, and it's the same thing that's happened all season. It comes from not having a presence in the midfield. No one's running with these guys. The fullbacks don't defend all that well, and the goals are pretty easy. The corner kick, yeah, set pieces are hard to defend, but it was poor. There's a guy right on Richarlison. No one jumps for the ball, and he gets a flick in. So I think a point is what Manchester United deserves. I don't think they're going to be happy with it, but from an outside perspective, I think they should be. Other quick points: Rashford's first goal of the season at Manchester United. That's kind of hilarious. It took him until the new year, but hopefully he's on some form, because if not, he might get left out of the Euro squad. Who knows? And then Hoyland with his best game in a Man U kit to date in the Premier League. Nice goal, and the assist for Rashford was nicely taken. Nick, from a Tottenham perspective, what'd you like out of this game?
I'm just gonna make a quick editorial note that if Marcus Rashford is left out of the Euro squad, but Harry Maguire, who was benched for an entire season, made every single squad, yeah, Gareth Southgate is.
I'm sure he'll be in, but you know what? If it's based on form, maybe not.
But Nick,
They
go
should
ahead.
be out. We should make our own. That'll be a future segment. Let's make our own England team, and they 100% win the Euros. Southgate's a moron. Kind of. Yeah, they were the better team on the day, missing obviously some key players and their 2 main men in Son and Madison. So Madison's obviously out for a while. Van de Ven and also picked up another little bit of a little injury, so not what you like to see there. I saw a lot of people like blowing Tottenham for this performance, like, oh, what a great point. I don't know if that's true. Like, they don't look that great. Like, neither team looked awesome. I think if you had to choose a winner, Tottenham looked the better team, but with the people that they were missing, like, I was not that impressed by their depth. So, um, a lot of ugly Timo time is well and alive in North London over with the Spurs now. Very funny to watch a striker that just shoots to shoot and doesn't really know what he's doing. So it's an enjoyable watch. But yeah, I mean, you'll with all those guys missing, I guess you take the point at Old Trafford. Not that that place is a fortress anymore, and not that Man U are any good, but um, Big Six games always have a little bit of extra spice to them. So, an away draw, I think Big Ange will mostly be fine with it.
Yep, keeps them in 5th tied on points with Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal have a game in hand there, but I think he's all right with that position in the table. We move to another game that included our friends from Manchester City, with all their charges going the oil derby here with Newcastle and Manchester City. Uh, this game was a banger, just well played on both sides, a lot of talent showing off here. Isak, amazing, but the story of the game is the man you see who scored in the 74th minute, Kevin De Bruyne. I mean, he's different gravy. He's a different level. Mike, from the City side, you had a big drop in form. Lost a lot of potential points. You're still very close to the title in terms of points. And now you have Kevin De Bruyne back, and we saw just how crazy good he is. How good are you feeling going down the stretch now?
Very good, especially with Erling Haaland. Still yet to come back. When he does inevitably come back, you think that's another dozen goals at least. So you got to be feeling good. KDB statement performance, and yeah, like you said, they had dropped a lot of points, and it looked like they might drop points here again against Newcastle, who kind of hit them by surprise. Bernardo Silva had a nice goal. That little heel flick was disgusting. Every goal in this game was really, really good. And then Newcastle responded in fine form. The Isak and Gordon goals were both great, but the man of the hour, Kevin De Bruyne, back, subs in, and immediate impact. Um, I don't know which was better, the goal or the assist. They were both phenomenal. He drives forward, he nutmegs Shar with his finish, and then at the death, he finds an absolute curler to Oscar Bob with a nice
Oh,
finish. I
what a
mean,
pass.
it was
Oh
a
my
beautiful
god.
game to watch. It's crushing for Newcastle because, goddamn, do they need some points? They've been in shit form, and their next couple fixtures are hard as well. They got to go play Villa soon. So, um, yeah, Nick, is it enough to have an inspiring performance against City if you're Newcastle to try to parlay this into some form, or did they need to see out a result?
So I don't know how great of a performance it was for Newcastle. That midfield was getting overrun, and in the first 30 minutes of that game, or however long until Isak and Gordon kind of flipped the switch, like just individually, that was a tough watch. Like Newcastle, everyone felt that it was just a matter of time, and Bernardo Silva's goal was a moment of brilliance, but it was well earned. Like the back line played really well. St. James was fucking buzzing, but I, I don't know. That midfield was getting doggy. They need something in there. I get this Miley kid is supposed to be like like everyone's in love with him because he's 17, but I don't know how good he actually is. I don't know why Joe Willock isn't getting minutes. I don't know if he's hurt or what's going on, but
Is
they need
yeah,
a little bit more steel in that midfield, I think. So, um, I don't know. I thought Gamarish was wonderful, like on the ball. Those passes, especially I believe the one to Gordon, I believe it might have been. He fucking
yep,
like just what a turn of play, what a ball, beautiful. Um, but this game was close because of two individual moments of brilliance. Three, if you want to argue that Gamarish ball. It wasn't because Newcastle was anywhere near the level of Man City today or on that day. So I wouldn't be too encouraged by it. St. James was well behind. What a fucking awesome group of fans that they have over there. It was awesome. Shout out to the refs for not bending under all that pressure, which has been pretty normal to see this year. But I'm still form wise, I'm still pretty worried about Newcastle, and I think they should be too. Especially when you look at the table. What are they, ninth, 10th? Like they're not in a good spot.
yeah.
I
They're in
think
10th, and form aside, that's obviously bad, but their lack of depth, their lack of options is still super alarming. They make one sub that game, Lewis Hall. They tried to sub Bruno Guimaraes late in the game before De Bruyne came on, but De Bruyne comes up to the line and they made the decision to leave him on. He had some sort of knock. They just don't have options. Joelington, Joel Willock, both out still. Jared, do you expect them to make a loan signing, permanent signing? They're strapped for cash at the moment. Um, what can they do to shore up the ranks and try to find something that can make an impact.
I mean, I think it's they just have to play better with who they have. Because, like you said, they are strapped for cash. I saw a report that they're gonna, if they do not get higher up in the table and get some of that European money, they're gonna have to sell off around a 100 million worth so that they don't break the FIFA financial fair play.
Bring me
It's
Isak. Come on, boys. It's meant to happen.
four straight losses, and before that, it wasn't great either. They have taken such a deep dive down the table. They're below Chelsea. Chelsea has been consistently a team that is not playing well, not able to finish goals, not able to play well, and they're still above Newcastle now because Newcastle has played so poorly for a long stretch now. They have great players. Isak and Gordon are both playing great for them. Almiron last season was amazing. He needs to find form again, and that defense for different parts of the season has been great, but is just you can't allow a 2-1 game to slip completely away to 3-1. A late winner is just devastating for them, and moving them further and further away from European ball is just meaning they're going to have to sell even more. And like you said, there's depth issues. I mean, everything is just getting worse and worse for Newcastle here. They really needed to get some European money from Europa League, Champions League, whatever they were going to find themselves in.
Right. That would have been an extra 16 to 20 mil, I'm sure. And that's something they're definitely missing.
Yeah, it's not looking great over there in Newcastle. The oil money is not always as fruitful as Manchester City has had. And we move into talking of all this money and all these charges. Everton, they had a game this week versus Aston Villa. Aston Villa, who is third in the league table. Nick, God damn it, we said it was a trap game. They don't lose it, but a 0-0 draw. As an Everton fan, I'm A-okay with that. Aston Villa has been on fire, and Everton get a point out of it. You think, is this considered a trap game, the 0-0 draw?
Yeah, it was. We talked about it. I mean, like any game against Sean Dyche feels like a trap game for any big team, right? So, especially with Villa's form away from home not being what it has been at home, that's an important thing in a top four race, which they're very clearly in. So, uh, it was a great result for Everton. I'm sure Mike can share more about that, but definite disappointment if you're a Villa team where everyone's blowing you off. Unai Emery, this podcast trying to put a manager of the year, yada yada. Not me, by the way. Not the truth teller over here. But maybe some bozos on the other side of these screens. But anyways, I do think it was a trap game and the points dropped is not going to help them at all.
Yeah, definitely doesn't help them. Mike, it's getting a little dicey down at the bottom. Producer P, if you can scroll down to the bottom of the table here, those relegation teams that we had already relegated for our locks, not so relegated, just 1 point above Luton, and that 1 point came from this game. Are you settled with the 0-0 draw versus it's Aston Villa? So could you expect a win here, or 0-0 draws is right about what you were hoping for?
Yeah, a draw is really the expectation here. I mean, I would love to say we would win at home, but Villa's just a phenomenal team up and down the board. They're better at almost every position, except for maybe a few of our defenders. Um, so, yeah, it's a lot to ask for, but we played a good game. We stuck to the game plan well, and I think we had the best chance of the game. I mean, Dominic Calvert was in on goal and didn't take his chance all that well. Martinez made a decent save. So if we can get the goal there, we walk away with 3 points. Aside from that, we played our brand. We played on the counter. We ceded possession for most of the game. Things I liked Danjuma getting the start. He hasn't played a whole lot this season. It was nice to give him a start, but he wasn't overly impactful. Other than that, it is
Where did he
scary.
play, Mike? Was he at the 10? No.
No, he played kind of left wing like Dwight McNeil's position. McNeil ended up subbing in later in the game, 60 minutes or so. It is scary being at the bottom though, especially with Luton 1 point off and a game behind, they could leap us and we could be in relegation. And with these charges being brought, it's a scary sight. Still confident we're a better team than these three. I think we're better than Brentford. And I think on our day, we're better than Nottingham. So my expectation is still to stay up comfortably, but we need to take this tie and then turn it into more results.
Yeah, speaking of Brentford, the bees are not fucking buzzing. Holy shit.
They've not buzzed in a while.
They
Brentford.
went into fucking hibernation, bro.
But they're 2 games back, so anything could
That is
happen.
true.
Yeah, I don't think 5 losses is too affected by 2 games back. But I guess it's a opportunity there. But we move into another game here that I'm not really sure there's that much to talk about here, but Chelsea maybe a little bit more big picture. They get their win, Cole Palmer penalty, 1-0. I mean, this is the most basic Chelsea win ever. That's just everything that you would expect Chelsea to do. They did it. That's how Cole Palmer scores his goals, his penalties. But Chelsea, if you can scroll down to the table for them, like we said, they've somewhat moved up here into ninth. Other teams have been hitting some bad form. Manchester United, Brighton hasn't been too consistent. Newcastle's just speed running it down to the bottom. Chelsea could find themselves into a European position. Is that potentially where they're headed? I mean, 3 wins in a row here and 4 out of 5. Mike, you see them making that climb?
Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. I think Conference League's definitely on the table, and even maybe pushing for a Europa League spot. The teams ahead of them, apart from the top 4, Tottenham and maybe West Ham, are not better. I don't think Manchester United's better. I don't think Brighton's better. They're right around all those teams that are just above them, just below them. So it's definitely doable. They've been playing better of late. The striker play's still not there. Don't expect it to be there with the current guys in the rotation. But Cole Palmer's been really a resurgence to this team. I mean, a lot of penalties, sure, but goals are goals, and he's having a prolific season. Nick, do you think Europe's in the cards, or not quite?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't have faith in any of those teams above them. Like top 5 feels pretty distinguished at this point. Everyone else is just kind of everyone else. So, um, maybe. I guess I don't know. Who cares? Fuck. Like, what are we playing for? Europa League here? Come on, guys. Like, if you're a Chelsea Football Club, that's not your aspiration with the amount of fucking money you pumped into that club.
I mean,
So it's gonna be a disappointment
that's good.
nonetheless. But if they can get back into the Europa League, it's definitely better than not. So, if it's the Conference League, I would lose on purpose to not have to play in the Conference League. Like that is a joke. Although not when Declan Rice won it. Shout out to Declan Rice. But overall, did you guys see Cole Palmer's heat map? It's just right on the penalty dot.
That's all they need.
Very funny to you guys. There's like people holding up his jerseys and stands. He's like 6 of his 8 goals like coming from the penalty marker. So
Yep.
he has looked good. I will say he has looked good. But let's pump the brakes on the generational talent talk, please.
Yeah, Jorginho also had like leading the team in goals season just because he had a crazy amount of penalties there. So it is a bit of a Chelsea rite of passage, but to be fair to them, they are in some good form, and every team essentially, I feel like around that area, West Ham, Manchester United, Brighton, Newcastle, Wolves, every team has gone through just a roller coaster of a season where they have insane runs and then are just complete ass for like 4 games and then get back to a level, have an insane run, and then are ass again. Oh, there's his heat map there on the penalty spot. So I don't think it's unrealistic for Chelsea to get there. But our final game, we'll get into that here. It was Burnley-Luton, and controversial towards the end with Burnley's keeper being somewhat taken out, going for the ball, and Luton ends up scoring in the 90th plus 2 minutes. Mike, did you see that? Did you think that should be called a foul there on Trafford coming out to claim the ball, or do you think it's fair game?
Yeah, I did see it. It's a whole lot of contact. So you would think that he'd get the call most of the time, but the refs have been so inconsistent, man. It's not really surprising. It could go both ways based on what we've seen this season. So I don't feel that diehard about it one way or another. But fucking sucks for Burnley. I mean, they were seeing out a win here at home, and a stoppage time winner that's hard to swallow.
Nick, we're gonna stick with our theme that we've had since we pre-relegated these teams of disrespect and not talk more about the game. We're gonna talk about their Twitter presence. Luton Town has made plenty of memes due to their stadium and all the storylines that came around it. Is it a bigger loss to the Premier League to lose that storyline, or is it a bigger loss for us to lose Burnley's Twitter account that has been posting their wonderful transfer announcements, with ET being the last one that came out? They're releasing some bangers for the transfer announcements.
I want to say with like zero disrespect, like I 100% cheering for the Toffees, but man, do I hope Burnley stay up because that Twitter account is such a fun follow, bro. And like, I just will not care about them in the championship. I'm sorry, I can't. Um, but it feels like they'll make signings actually in the summer. There's no way Luton actually makes signings. It feels like they're gonna sign a couple of free agents maybe, but um, Burnley is whoever's running that account needs one more recognition and they need promotion. Like they need to go to a Big Six team. This is the transfer that no one is talking about. January transfer window. It is the fucking admin of Burnley going over to Arsenal so we can get some fucking juice back in our announcements, please. I remember the Aubameyang one was like our best. Well, Declan's was really good. Don't get me wrong, but the Aubameyang one was like our last one, which I felt was great. And even that like is nothing like what Burnley is doing. So I'm sorry, but we are talking about the wrong things when it comes to this January transfer window.
Yeah, Burnley's social admin. They are a hot commodity on the transfer market this January. We'll see where they end up. We'll make sure to keep close tabs on that one.
Hey,
Uh,
Flags, really quick. Timo Werner or Burnley admin for Twitter? You choose.
uh, Definitely Burnley admin. I mean they're just more morale boosting. I think Timo can do the opposite with some of the chances he misses. Just sinks a team of any type of confidence.
Oh, I
But we'll
love
get
it.
into uh, our U.S. men's national team corner to close us out here, and that will include Timo Werner's old teammate who missed plenty of chances for Mr. Christian Pulisic to get some assists. And speaking of Mr. Christian Pulisic, he has just won the EAFC Player of the Month for December for Serie A. So he is absolutely killing it over there at AC Milan. 2 goals, 2 assists in the month, and over a stretch of 8 games had 7 goal contributions. So he's just been loving life over there in Milan. Had a very positive performance again this weekend. But that's not the only American balling in Italy. Weston McKennie in the Coppa Italia had 2 assists. The first one, good assist. Second one, oh, mamma mia. He brought a
Bellissimo.
beer love. Just a dot. Jordan Love-esque dot downfield, dropping it right on his foot, and beautiful, beautiful goal there. McKennie is very much so rejuvenated his career at Juventus. He was told this summer that he was out, and the only way that he would be with them is if he started running in May and did not stop until the season started. He's talked about it, about how much training he did and how he passed out from how much running and training he was doing in the offseason, and it is very much so paid off. Uh, but there are some players that are not in the greatest situation and could use a move that rejuvenates their career here, and that is Gio Reyna. Talked about him a whole lot. Just signed with Jorge Mendes, I believe he's Cristiano Ronaldo's agent,
Yep.
going away from the Wasserman agency. and he was offered to Marseille. Turned that down. I think that's a smart decision. But then Sevilla and Real Sociedad loan moves had been the two things that they're looking at the most at the time being. Nick, I'll start with you. Would you rather see Gio Reyna in a Sevilla jersey or over at Real Sociedad?
If I had to choose, I'd go Sociedad. I think they just have more talent around them. Well, I guess Sevilla could build it like he could. I think he'd probably play more centrally in Sevilla. He might be pushed out wide in Sociedad, so depends really there. But honestly, I don't really want to see him go to Spain. That doesn't feel like the style of play. Like Spain has gotten so into like just mega pressing the entire time and just it feels like nonstop. I think he'd get hurt. I think he'd thrive in Italy. So I don't know if either of those, but any place feels better right now than Dortmund. So if I had to pick one, I'd say Sociedad.
I feel like Spain is a very good league for him with the amount of just technical reliance and passing, a lot of that.
I feel like
Way
they're pressing like every game that I've seen that doesn't include Barca or Madrid has been like all 20 players, not the goalies, are on one side of the half at all times. Like everyone's always pressing all the time. Like I don't know. Seems like maybe it'd get a little too intense for him.
Hmm.
Like not
Mike,
physically. That's not what I mean, but
your take on Sevilla or Sociedad here? What are you thinking is a better fit for Gio, or you don't like either of those moves?
I don't hate him. Spain would be my first choice, like Nick said. I think if he could get minutes at a Bundesliga side, that would be a good option.
also true.
Italy is also a great option. Um, Premier League seems like an odd fit just because I don't know which team he would go to. So with Spain though, Sociedad's obviously the better team. I would like to see him there. I think he would struggle to break in, at least initially. With Sevilla, he can make an immediate impact. They're really struggling right now. A lot of older midfielders, not a whole lot of talent in the attacking end. So I think he could have an impact there. And if it's a short loan move, I think that could be good for him.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just somewhere that Gio Reyna is going to be playing, and hopefully playing that number 10 role. I think Dortmund have now made it pretty clear, as well as Reyna, that it's not working out. They brought in Sancho, they brought in Matson, so bringing in two players that somewhat play the same position as Gio Reyna, not indicative of him getting more minutes. So I'd imagine that means he is on the move, especially finding a new agent. Usually not to negotiate a new contract at Dortmund. But that is it for us. Final thoughts, Mike. I'll start with you.
Everton faithful, hold out hope. Our appeals will be heard. They will make the correct decision. I'm hopeful. Not really, but you know, I really do hope it happens. Gio Reyna, get a move, dude. We need you playing regular football before the Copa America. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on TikTok. Footy with the boys. Thanks for joining.
Nick, we also have your closing thoughts, although Mike did a good little conclusion there.
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, then, until next time, we will wait to see your comments and all your follows flow in for Mike's endorsement. See you then.
Yes.
Subscribe.